Hello, word nerds. Welcome to the dictionary. This is my podcast where I read the dictionary. I'm literally just reading the dictionary. I thank you to all of you for joining and listening in, and subscribe on whatever platform you are currently listening to this on. Unless this is playing in a store, and then you can ask the person. First question is, why are you playing this in a store? And the second question is, how can I listen to it? You can listen to it on all the podcast platforms, most of them. I don't know about all of them, but there's a lot of them. And then please review this show so more people can learn about it and share it with your friends. And you can email me and message me on the social medias and my email. Okay, the first word is callant or callant. Callant? I think callant is the other option. callant. Noun from circa 1592. It is chiefly Scottish. Synonyms are boy and lad. A callant. This is from Dutch callant, which means customer or fellow. From Middle French dialect, from the Picard region of the Picard dialect, calland, which means customer. From the Latin verb callere, which means to be warm. And there's more at the word lee. We had that a few episodes ago, too. Okay, next is callback. Noun from 1926. 1. A return call. 2a. The number 5 definition for the word recall. 2b. A recall of an employee to work after a layoff. 2c. A second or additional audition for a theatrical part. Next is callboard. 2 words with a hyphen. Noun from 1886. The number 1 definition for the word bulletin board is our synonym. Next is call box. 2 words. Noun from 1885. 1 is British, a public telephone booth. They call those the call box. That makes sense. It's the box where you make the calls. They don't probably exist anymore, just like here in America. We don't really have phone booths anymore, public phones, but they call them call boxes. 2, a telephone usually located on the side of a road for reporting emergencies, as fires or automobile breakdowns. Next is call boy. 1 word. Noun from 1794. Synonyms are bellhop and page. Next is call down. 2 words. Transitive verb from 1634. 1. To cause or entreat to descend, as in call down a blessing. Number 2, synonym is reprimand, as in called me down for being late. Well, yeah, why were you late? Why couldn't you be on time? Next is called strike. 2 words, noun from 1887. A pitched baseball not struck at by the batter that passes through the strike zone. It's that went right through that strike zone, and they got called a strike. Baseball is so old. From 1887. That's 133 years old. I would love to go in a time machine and watch a baseball game from 1887. I think that would be so interesting with my current 2020 brain. I don't know. I just love being able to see all that old school stuff. Okay, next is callee or callee. Callee, noun from 1949, 1 who receives a telephone call. You don't use this phrase anymore. You are the callee. And then the opposite side is our next word, caller, although it's the second form that's the opposite. But anyway, let's start with the first form of caller. Adjective from the 14th century. Number 1 is Scottish. The synonym is fresh. Don't get caller with me. Number 2 is also Scottish. Synonym is cool. So you can be cool or fresh. And then the second form of caller is a noun from the 15th century, 1 that calls. The caller calls the callee. Next is caller ID. See, all these words that rhyme, that's when I start to think of songs. But I'm not going to do that now. Caller ID, noun from 1989. A telephone service that allows a subscriber to identify the telephone number of a caller before answering the call, called also caller identification. And then they just shortened that to ID. Yeah, 1989. A lot of you, a lot of people didn't even get it until probably within the next decade after that, probably when it became more standardized. But yeah, you kids today, you always have caller ID. That's just a normal thing for you. But us old people, we grew up during a time that there was no caller ID. People older than me lived even longer with no caller ID. How did we live that way? How you would never know who was calling. Could be anybody. You didn't know. You had to pick up the phone to find out. Right now, you can look at your phone and be like, I don't want to take their call. Or, oh, I don't recognize that number. I'm going to let it go to voicemail. Couldn't do that before. Nope. Okay. Next is callet. Callet, noun from the 15th century. This is chiefly Scottish. Oh, synonym is prostitute. A callet. This is probably from the Middle French callet, which is a frivolous person, from the name Caillet, capital Caillette, which was a French court fool. I don't know. I think that's a specific person, maybe not a type of person, but a specific person named Caillet, who was a court fool who flourished in 1500. Maybe I should do some more research on that. But anyway, in Scotland, a callet is a prostitute. We're going to have something that is similar to that coming up. But first is call forwarding, noun from 1977, a telephone service that allows a subscriber to have incoming calls forwarded to a different number. I didn't realize that this was older than caller ID by over a decade. We had that ability. I mean, I guess it's not terribly complicated, in general from telephone ability, but I didn't know that. That's kind of cool. And now that's pretty standard. Although, how many of us actually use that outside of like an office setting? All right, next is call girl, 2 words, noun from circa 1940. A prostitute with whom an appointment may be made by telephone. Oh, that's why they call him a call girl. Okay. You call them up. Now it's kind of an outdated, maybe it could be a text girl or a message girl. What I think is interesting and sexist is that a call girl is a prostitute, but a call boy is a bellhop or page. So if there were a female bellhop or page, you can't call them a call girl because it has such this negative connotation or this other connotation. I mean, I guess say negative is a judgment, which I don't mean. It's very subjective, but you can't. That would be weird. Interesting. So anyway, this English language is weird. Okay, next is call house, noun from 1929. A house or apartment where call girls may be procured. So that would be the house that you call up. Okay, next is calligraphed. 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 Adjective from 1884. Written or printed in calligraphy, as in a calligraphed certificate. My parents are both artists and have very good handwriting and can, they can draw and write in different ways if they so choose. They can make their hand do those things. And so I remember at least once, maybe multiple times, they have been asked to basically do calligraphy for the wedding invitation envelopes, to write the handwriting of the people that they are going to. And that is a big job. But they were very good at it. Next is calligrapher, noun from 1753. 1. A professional copyist or engrosser. 2. One who practices the art of calligraphy. 3. Synonym is penman, penman, as in a fair calligrapher. Next is calligraphist, noun from 1816. Synonym is calligrapher. Next is calligraphy, the thing that we've been talking about. Noun from 1604. 1a, artistic, stylized, or elegant handwriting or lettering. 1b, the art of producing such writing. 2. Synonym is penmanship. 3. An ornamental line in drawing or painting. Calligraphic is an adjective, and calligraphically is an adverb. This is from French calligraphie, from Greek calligraphia, from calli prefix, which means beautiful, which is from kalos, which means beauty, and then graphia, which means the suffix graphi, beautiful graphi, beautiful writing, which it is. And then our last word is call in, 2 words with a hyphen, adjective from 1967, allowing listeners to engage in broadcast telephone conversations with the host or a guest, as in a call-in show. This is not a call-in show, but what is that podcast? Science Rules with Bill Nye. That used to be a call-in show ever since the pandemic. I guess it still is technically a call-in show, but it was... the episode wouldn't go out live, but they would record it live. So they would have people literally call in and they could talk to each other. But now they just take voicemails and emails and stuff. I think one of my favorite examples of a call-in show are those episodes with, what's her name? Jill Calamezzo, something like that, on Parks and Rec. And there's one episode that we saw recently with Nick Offerman, Ron Swanson, taking calls while she was passed out drunk, and that was a great episode. Okay, we had callant, call back, call board, call box, call boy, call down, called strike, callee, caller, caller ID, callet, call forwarding, call girl, call house, calligraphed, calligrapher, calligraphist, calligraphy, and call in. I don't even know what I want to pick. I think I kind of want to pick calligraphy as the word of the episode because, man, you look at some good calligraphy and that is something, and it takes some amazing skill to create that stuff. So how do we create a song from the word calligraphy? Calligraphy, calligraphy. Oh, how I love you, calligraphy. You make the writing so beautiful. And what rhymes with calligraphy? So many things, and my brain can't think of anything. Calligraphy, calligraphy. Your penmanship is so wonderfully done. That's the end of that song. Thank you very much for listening. We finished page 175. Whoa. Happy New Year. New Year's Eve is today. Wow. Good thing I looked at my little notes here. Yes, Happy New Year's almost to you. The next episode is actually going to drop. Let's see. I think I can make it drop at like 12:01 or even midnight for tomorrow. So the New Year's Day episode will land right on at the time, at least in my time zone. So yeah, I hope that you celebrate the end of this totally messed up year, 2020, and hopefully 2021 is a bit better for everybody. Yeah, who knows what's going to happen? I don't know. It's just another day. The next day in 2021 is just another day. But for some reason, I think it feels different. When you have a new year, it's in your head. It feels different, so maybe there's something to that. I don't know. Let's see what happens in 2021. I hope that you all survived this year. That, unfortunately, I have to say that literally because so many people have died from COVID. I'm bringing it down, aren't I? That's great, Spencer. But seriously, it's been a messed up year, and for everybody, I think. And I hope that I hope I say that a lot. I hope you're doing okay. Let's make next year better. All right, that's all I got to say. Thank you very much for listening, and until next time, this is Spencer dispensing information. Goodbye. Happy New Year, word nerds. Hello. Thank you for turning on this podcast. Yes, today is January 1st, 2021. We write it 1/1/21 or 1/1/2021, however you want to say it or write it. So hey, let's go for a good year. Let's see. I don't think I really have anything else special to say other than the fact that we are at the top of page 176. The first word is call in. 2 words. This is a verb from 1545. We are starting with transitive. 1. To order to return or to be returned. As 1a. To withdraw from an advanced position, as in call in the outposts. 1b. To withdraw from circulation, as in call in banknotes and issue new ones. 2. To summon to one's aid or for consultation, as in call in a mediator. Quick, call in a mediator. We got a problem that needs to be fixed. 3. To deliver a message by telephone, as in call in an order for pizza. I cannot remember the last time I ordered pizza for delivery. When was that? Wow, yeah, it's been a long, long time. Now we have intransitive, to communicate with a person by telephone. Call in sick is a phrase which means to report by telephone that one will be absent because of illness. These days with technology, it's not always calling in by telephone, but we still use the same phrase. I'm calling in sick. That could be with a message, an email, a phone call, whatever. Next is calling, calling, noun from the 14th century. 1. A strong inner impulse toward a particular course of action, especially when accompanied by conviction of divine influence. It is my calling to read you this book. 2. The vocation or profession in which one customarily engages. 3. The characteristic cry of a female cat in heat. Also, the period of heat. They make the calling sound. I don't think I've ever heard it, really. And then a synonym is the word work. What is your work? What is your calling? Maybe you're still trying to figure it out. I think I am. Next is calling card. You younger people probably have never heard this before. It's a thing that we used to use, although it looks like there's a few definitions. It is a noun from 1846. 1. Synonym is visiting card. 2. A sign or evidence that someone or something is or has been present. And then broadly, an identifying mark. Oh yeah, like the wet bandits in Home Alone, their calling card was, stopping the sink and making the water run, and so they flooded the house. That was just mean. It's bad enough that you got to rob them, then you got to flood their house. And then number 3, a card displaying a number that can be used to charge telephone calls to a single account regardless of where the calls are placed. Yeah, that's what I first thought of when I thought of calling card. I had a calling card back in the day. I took a trip and there were no cell phones. I had no cell phone. And I needed the calling card. So if it's just a place, it's what it said. Stop babbling, Spencer. Next is calliope, Calliope. This is a noun from the 14th century. Let's see, you can also pronounce it calliope? Calliope. Yeah, that's the calliope. Okay. But normally people say calliope. Number 1 is capitalized. It is the Greek muse of heroic poetry. And then just a little background information. This is from the Greek word calliope with a capital K. I didn't know that. The Greek muse of heroic poetry. But what are other kinds of poetry that this Greek muse is not part of? What's the opposite of heroic? Sad poetry? I don't know what that means. So that's calliope. Number 2, a keyboard musical instrument resembling an organ and consisting of a series of whistles sounded by steam or compressed air. I think there used to be or still is a calliope that goes down our 4th of July parade every year. It's on like the back of a truck or something. I don't know. There's a couple of instruments that are sort of similar. I think it's a calliope. And then I think I could have this wrong. There is a John Linnell from They Might Be Giants has a song that may or may not be a calliope. I'll have to check with my sources on that one. But if I am correct, maybe I'll put in a clip here. Next, we have caliper with 2 L's. It is the chiefly British variation of caliper with 1 L. Next is Callipygian. Callipygian. Just double check the pronunciation. Callipygian. Could also be callipygus. Callipygus. Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. I don't know. It's in there somewhere. This is an adjective from circa 1800. It's a good one. Having shapely buttocks. Who knew that there was a word that meant having shapely buttocks? I did, because somehow in high school I learned this word. I really have no clue how I learned it, but my friends and I would joke about this word. So let's see. This is from the Greek kallipygios with a K, which is from the prefix kalli, Kalli, plus the word, let's see, is it pidge or pidgey, Pyge, and that means buttocks. So kalli must be something like shapely or beautiful or something like that. So be nice, but you can use this word. But yeah, like I said, be nice only to somebody that you know, and maybe your friends. You can joke around with this word. Don't go up to some random person on the street and say, hey, you're Callipygian. Next we have Callisto, capital Callisto, noun from the 14th century. A nymph loved by Zeus, changed into a she-bear by Hera, and subsequently changed into the Great Bear constellation. And this is from the Greek word Callisto. So that is some good mythology right there. Callisto. Next we have Callithump. Yeah, it's pretty much spelled like it sounds. Noun from, where is it? The 1950. A noisy, boisterous band or parade. A callithump. Callithumpian is an adjective. This is a back formation from the word callithumpian. Okay, so that came first. And that is an adjective alternative. I don't think that means adjective in this case. Is alternative of the English dialect Gallithumpian, which is a disturber of order at elections in 18th century, or it should say in the 18th century. So a Gallithumpian disturbed elections. It became Callithumpian, and that just became a callithump is a boisterous band or parade. All right. Next is call letters, 2 words, noun from 1912. The synonym is call sign, also 2 words, which we will get to in the next episode. Next is call loan, 2 words, noun from 1852. A loan payable at the discretion of the borrower or on demand of the lender. Next is call number, 2 words, noun from 1876. A combination of characters assigned to a library book to indicate its place on a shelf. I think that would be similar to the Dewey Decimal System. Would that be the call number of the Dewey Decimal System? Next, we have call off, 2 words, transitive verb from 1633. 1, to draw away. Synonym is divert. 2, synonym is cancel. Next is call of nature. Maybe you could also say nature's call. 3 words from 1741. The need to urinate or defecate. That's what it is. This is the call of nature. We are all here to what nature has to say. We have no choice in the matter. You gotta sleep, you gotta urinate and defecate and eat food, and it's just nature calling, saying, do this thing. Next is callosity. Callosity. Noun from 1578. 1, the quality or state of being callous, as 1a, marked or abnormal hardness and thickness. 1b, lack of feeling or capacity for emotion. And number 2, we have the number 1 definition for the word callous, spelled Callus. Also will be in the next episode. But next is callous with an OUS. This is the first form adjective from the 15th century. 1a, being hardened and thickened. I think my feet are fairly calloused. 1b, having calluses, as in callous hands. 2a, feeling no emotion. 2b, feeling or showing no sympathy for others. Synonym is hard-hearted. So it's 2 words that sound very similar. Hard, H-A-R-D, hearted, H-E-A-R-T-E-D. Like your heart is very hard, and you are callous. Callously is an adverb. Callousness is a noun. And that's good for that. Now we have the second form of callous, transitive verb from 1834. To make callous, as in hands calloused by hard manual labor. Next is call out. This is just one word, noun from 1887. 1. The act or an instance of calling out. 2. An often bordered inset in a printed article or illustration that usually includes a key excerpt or detail. And then lastly, we have call out, 2 words, transitive verb from the 15th century. 1. To summon into action, as in call out troops. 2. To challenge to a duel. Number 3. To order on strike, as in call out the workers. So today we had call in, calling, calling card, calliope, caliper, calipigian, callisto, callithump, call letters, call loan, call number, call off, call of nature, callosity, callous, call out, and call out. Well, there were definitely a couple of good ones here, but of course I have to pick calipigian as the word of the episode because, well, it's just a funny definition, and it's funny that there's a word that means this in the first place, and I just have a personal connection to it because in high school my friends would joke about this word. So how do we do this song thing? Yeah, let's see. You got a shapely buttocks. You got a shapely buttocks. If you got a shapely buttocks, then people can call you oh, this did not go well. People can call you calipigian. Calipigian. You're not a pigeon, but you got a nice butt. Calipigian. Thank you very much for listening. This has been Spencer dispensing information. Goodbye. Hello, word nerds. Welcome to the dictionary. I forgot to ask in the last episode, did you give yourself a New Year's resolution? I don't know if I did because I'm recording this almost a full month ahead of time. I might try and say something like exercise more, eat healthier, but I'm already mostly good at those things. Mostly. I've had popcorn the last 2 nights, which probably wasn't a good idea. But yeah, what are you doing? Are you doing any resolutions? Do you care? Will you keep it up? You can let me know if you want. Otherwise, just ignore this question. So our first word is callow, C-A-L-L-O-W, adjective from 1580, lacking adult sophistication. Well, that would be me. Synonym is immature, as in callow youth. Well, doesn't that seem a little redundant, callow youth? I don't know. And then callowness is a noun. So this is from the Middle English, callu, C-A-L-U, which means bald. From Old High German, callow, which also means bald. And from Old OCS, I had that recently. I'm not going to look it up. Old something Slavic, I think. Golu, which means bear. Bald, bear. How this compares to lacking adult sophistication, I'm not entirely sure. Okay, next is call sheet. 2 words, noun from circa 1949. A daily schedule of filming for a movie or television show. So they make a call sheet every day, and it says what actors are needed, probably, definitely, and also probably other things that are needed for the day, and just the schedule in general. Maybe someday I'll get a call sheet. Next is call sign, 2 words, noun from 1919. The combination of identifying letters and numbers, or words assigned to an operator, office, activity, vehicle, or station for use in communication, as in the address of a message sent by radio, like, I'm trying to think of one in Chicago, WXRT. Yeah, that's one of them. That's their call sign. And there's a interesting fact. I don't remember the specifics, but there's a line that goes across the country. It's either a vertical line or a horizontal line. I can't remember. And then on one half of it, radio call signs start with a W, and on the other side, they start with a K. It might be like the eastern portion of the U.S. is a W, and the western portion is a K, or it's north versus south. I honestly can't remember, but it's something like that. All right, next we have call slip. 2 words, noun from 1881. a form filled out by a library patron for a desired book. Next is call to arms. 3 words from 1791. 1. A summons to engage in active hostilities. 2. A summons, invitation, or appeal to undertake a particular course of action, as in a political call to arms. Next is similar, call to quarters. 3 words, 1887. When I go do laundry, I have a call to quarters. Quarters, come pay for my laundry. This is a bugle call, usually shortly before taps, that summons soldiers to their quarters. And if I find an example, I will play it here. Next is call up. 2 words with a hyphen, noun from 1940. 1. An order to report for military service. 2. A baseball player brought up to a major league team from the minor leagues. And recently we learned that those are called the bush leagues. If you didn't already know that, still not sure why. Next is call up. Just 2 words, no hyphens on this one. This is a verb, I think it's only transitive, from 1549. 1. To summon together, as for a united effort, as in, call up all his forces for the attack. 2. To bring to mind, synonym is evoke. 3. To summon before an authority. 4a. To summon for active military duty. 4b. To bring up from a minor league to a major league baseball team. 5. To bring forward for consideration or action. 6. To retrieve from the memory of a computer, especially for display and user interaction. Next we have callus. This is the one that is spelled C-A-L-L-U-S. First form, noun from 1563. 1. A thickening of or a hard, thickened area of on skin or bark. So I didn't realize that the callus on your foot, say, is spelled this way, but when you are calloused, it's spelled with an O-U-S. I did not realize there was a difference there. Okay, so number 2 for callus, a mass of exudate, E-X-U-D-A-T-E, a mass of exudate and connective tissue that forms around a break in a bone and is converted into bone in healing. Number 3, soft tissue that forms over a wounded or cut plant surface. Now we have the second form of callus, intransitive verb. No, it's just a verb because there's 2 short definitions. From 1864, intransitive says to form callus, and then transitive, to cause callus to form on. Next is call waiting, 2 words with a hyphen, noun from 1986. Also, kids, this was not something that has existed forever. It's not even 40 years old. A telephone service that signals, as by a beep, to the user when an incoming call is received during a call in progress. I don't have a lot of memories before this. I don't think we got it probably until closer to 1990 maybe. But yeah, I definitely remember this being a thing. They're like, wow, now somebody can call instead of just getting a busy signal, it'll ring. And then on my end, if I'm on the phone, I'll hear a beep and I'll say, oh, wait, I got somebody calling me. This changed the game of telephones. This was huge. Okay, next we have the last word, which is calm, C-A-L-M, but we have 3 forms. The first form is a noun from the 14th century. 1a, a period or condition of freedom from storms, high winds, or rough activity of water. 1b, complete absence of wind or presence of wind having a speed no greater than 1 mile per hour, which is also 1.6 kilometers per hour. And then it says to see the Beaufort scale table, and I do kind of remember that one. There was a whole scale of wind speeds, and yeah, it gave a lot of specificity that I gave to you. And then number 2, a state of tranquility, calm. This is from, probably from Latin cauma, C-A-U-M-A, which means heat, from the Greek kaiein, which means to burn. Not sure why calm is related to that, but okay. Now, the second form of calm is a verb from the 14th century. Intransitive, to become calm, usually used with the word down. Calm down. Transitive says to make calm, and this is also often used with the word down. And then the third form of calm is an adjective from the 14th century, one marked by calm. Synonym is still, as in a calm sea. 2. Free from agitation, excitement, or disturbance. Calmly is an adverb, and calmness is a noun, and we have some synonym information to round out this episode. Calm, tranquil, serene, placid, peaceful, mean quiet and free from disturbance. Calm often implies a contrast with a foregoing or nearby state of agitation or violence, as in, the protests ended and the streets were calm again. Tranquil suggests a very deep quietude or composure, as in, the tranquil beauty of a formal garden. Serene stresses an unclouded and lofty tranquility, as in, marked the sunset of a serene summer's evening. Placid suggests an undisturbed appearance and often implies a degree of complacency, as in, remained placid despite the criticism. And peaceful implies a state of repose in contrast with or following strife or turmoil, as in, grown peaceful in old age. I hope to eventually grow peaceful. So today we had callow, call sheet, call sign, call slip, call to arms, call to quarters, call up, callous, call waiting, and calm. This is very difficult. Maybe I'll just pick calm as the word of the episode because, it's maybe I need a little bit more of that in my brain. I think I'm constantly doing stuff and thinking and need more calm. I need to meditate more. I meditated this morning and that was nice. We'll see if I do it later today. So a song about calm. Sometimes I like to walk to the beach where it is so calm and I sit with the chipmunks and feed them peanuts. And that's it. Thank you very much for listening. And until next time, this is Spencer dispensing information. Goodbye. Hello, word nerds. Welcome to the dictionary. This is my podcast, which is about all the stuff in the world in the English language and a few other languages. Okay. Let's talk about the words. The first word is calmative. Calm and then A-T-I-V-E. Calmative, calmative, I think. Colmative. A few ways you can say it. This is a noun or adjective from 1870. The synonym is sedative. I've never heard of somebody say it's a calmative. That just sounds made up, just like sedative is made up. Next is calmodulin. Calmodulin or calmodulin, like a dieu, calmodulin. This is a noun from 1978, a calcium-binding protein that mediates cellular metabolic processes as the contraction of muscle fibers by regulating the activity of calcium-dependent enzymes. Thank you for that. Next is calot. C-A-L-O. There is an accent over the O, so you emphasize that. Calot. Noun from 1947. Any of several Spanish argots, especially an argot used by Chicano youths in cities in the U.S. Southwest. So this is a Spanish word which means argot. Speech of Spanish gypsies from Romani, callo. The word callo from lots of different languages means black, I guess. And then also from the Sanskrit kala, K-A-L-A. So it's probably black. What is an argot? I'm not sure. I have to look into this. Next we have calomel. Calomel, C-A-L-O-M-E-L. Noun from 1676. A white, tasteless compound, Hg2Cl2, used especially as a component of laboratory electrodes, as a fungicide, and formerly in medicine as a purgative, called also mercurous chloride. Mercurous. I think that's like mercury. M-E-R-C-U-R-O-U-S. Mercurous. Mercurous chloride. The etymology says this is from the Greek kalos, which means beautiful, and melas, which means black. Okay, next is caloric. First form, noun from 1792. 1. A supposed form of matter formerly held responsible for the phenomena of heat and combustion. A supposed form of matter. Interesting. I have learned recently that we're all taught that there's three forms of mass. There's solids, liquids, and gases. But recently I learned that there's also plasma, which the sun is a plasma, so that's sort of like this weird nebulous between liquid and solid. But I was listening to a podcast and they said that they think, maybe they know, but at least they think that there are other forms of types of mass out there that we can't even really comprehend or we have no experience with. So I guess maybe this is one of them. It's a possible form of matter. Anyway, number 2 is archaic, and it just means heat. That's the synonym, heat. Second form of caloric is an adjective from circa 1828. 1, of or relating to heat. 2, of, relating to, or containing calories. And calorically, I don't know why I said it the other way. Calorically is an adverb, although I kind of like to say calorically. That is an adverb. Now we have the word calorie. Usually we see it spelled with an IE, but you can also spell it with a Y. Calorie, you can also just say calorie. Like you take out the O, calorie. This is a noun from 1866. 1A, the amount of heat required at a pressure of 1 atmosphere to raise the temperature of 1 gram of water 1 degree Celsius. That is equal to about 4.19 joules. Joules. I never really fully understood calories. I still probably will not understand them. There are other definitions in here, though. Anyway, it's abbreviated to just cal, and it is called also gram calorie or small calorie. It doesn't really say what this is used in. It's the amount of heat required at a pressure of 1 atmosphere to raise the temperature of 1 gram of water. So that's what we're talking about, 1 gram of water. So you're raising 1 gram of water 1 degree Celsius, and it's the amount of pressure needed for that. 1 calorie does that. Okay. 1B is the amount of heat required to raise the temperature of 1 kilogram. Okay, so the first one was gram. This one's kilogram of water 1 degree Celsius. This is 1,000 gram calories or 3.968 BTUs. So we've got 1,000 more than the first one. And then the abbreviation is cal with a capital C, called also large calorie. So a small calorie with a lowercase cal is raising the water 1 gram of water 1 degree Celsius, but a large calorie is a capital CAL, and that's raising 1,000 grams of water 1 degree Celsius. Much more heat needed to do that. 2A, a unit equivalent to the large calorie, expressing heat-producing or energy-producing value in food when oxidized in the body. So it's similar to the large calorie, but it's in the body, not water, I guess. Okay, 2B, an amount of food having an energy-producing value of 1 large calorie. It's a thing that is going on in your body, and food has it, and you need it, and you don't want to have too many or too little. You also want to eat things that are nutritious, but also have calories, but not too many, but not too few. It's a fine balance. It's not all that hard to do, I don't think. This is from calor, Latin word calor, which means heat, from calere, which means to be warm, and there's more at the word li. Next is calorific, adjective from 1770. 1, the synonym is caloric. 2, of or relating to heat production. Next is calorimeter. This is a noun from 1790, an apparatus for measuring quantities of absorbed or emitted heat or for determining specific heats. So I would assume that this is the thing that they use to measure how much energy or how much heat was used to raise that water to 1 degree Celsius. They would probably need a calorimeter. Calorimetric, calorimetric. Calorimetric is an adjective. Calorimetrically is an adverb, and calorimetry is a noun. Okay, next is callant. Callotte. Callant. Noun from 1632. We have a couple synonyms. The first one is the number 1 definition for the word skull cap. So, okay, that's a callant. And then especially the synonym zucchetto. 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 You can maybe also pronounce it zucchetto. I don't know. But, we're going to have to wait a long time until we get to that word. Next is callotype. C-A-L-O, then the word type, but this is all one word. Noun from 1845. A photographic process by which a large number of prints could be produced from a paper negative. Also, a positive print so made. The callotype. This is from the Greek kallos, which means beautiful, plus type, as in the word daguerreotype. That's not super helpful, it's just a thing. Okay, next is calpac, C-A-L-P-A-C. You could also throw a K at the end. This is a noun from 1598. A high-crowned cap worn in Turkey, Iran, and neighboring countries. And then this is just from the Turkish word kalpak, K-A-L-P-A-K. So maybe we'll find a picture of this calpac. Next is the last word. It is just pronounced calc. It is spelled C-A-L-Q-U-E, calc. Noun from 1937. Synonym is loan translation. Loan translation. So this is a French word, and it literally means copy, from calc or calcare, which means to trace, from Italian calcare, which means to trample or trace, from the Latin word, which is probably the same, calcare, which means to trample. And there's more at the word caulk, C-A-U-L-K, which we read recently. Did we? No, that's actually coming up in a little while. Okay, so we had calmative, calmodulin, callo, calomel, caloric, calorie, calorific, calorimeter. I don't even know what I said before. Calorimeter, calot, callotype, calpac, and calc. Well, I think I just kind of want to pick the word calorific because it's just a funny word that we don't probably really use, but it also sounds like terrific. Oh, those calories are great. And then it also, I've got supercalifragilisticexpialidocious on the brain. Between this one and that other one a couple episodes ago, was that calipigis? Or no, where was it? I don't even remember. Supercalipigis I don't know. I guess if I could get, supercalifragilistic, supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Calorific isn't even in there. Or the rific, is it? I don't know. Calorific expialidocious. Well, that'll be the song. I'm running out of ideas. Thank you very much for listening. This has been Spencer dispensing information. Goodbye. Hello, word nerds. Welcome to the dictionary. This is the podcast, my podcast, one of my podcasts. We are at the end of page 176. So that's what I have to say for that. Okay, the first word is caltrop. C-A-L-T-R-O-P. Also, calthrop with a T-H. Noun from the 15th century, 1A. We've just got the number 1 definition for the word star thistle. 2 words. 1B, synonym is puncture vine. Interesting names for these. And then also any of various related herbs of the same family. And the family name is Zygophyllaceae, which is the caltrop family. And then the genera names are Tribulus, and Calstromia with a K, Calstromia. Okay, now we have number 2, a device with 4 metal points so arranged that when any 3 are on the ground, the fourth projects upward as a hazard to the hooves of horses or to pneumatic tires. So I think I know what this is. Maybe I'll post a picture, but I had no idea. I guess I never really thought about what's the name of that thing. But it's a caltrop. Let's see. You'll see a sign that says severe tire damage when you rent a car and you drive out of the parking lot. They usually have these because they don't want you to back up because the things are pointed in one direction, and then if you drive over it the right direction, you won't get punctured. But if you back up, you will get punctured. Your tires will, and that's bad. So maybe that's what they're talking about. We'll figure it out. Okay, next we have calumet. Calumet. Noun from 1698, a highly ornamented ceremonial pipe of the American Indians. And then it shows a picture of this calumet. So this is American French from French dialect, and it means pipe stem, from the Latin calamellus, which is a diminutive of the Latin calamus, which means reed. And there's more at the word calamus, Calamus. We read that one, I guess. So it must be, I would assume it's made out of reeds. Anyway, there's a picture. It's very fancy. I honestly can't even tell what end is what. Let's see. I think the right side is where you would put your mouth. There's some feathers hanging off of it. There's a bunch of feathers on the left side that go in like a fan shape. They've also got like a couple, looks like carved duck heads on one side. On the right side, it's pointing to the right, and then on the left side, it's at the very end. It's pointing to the left. It's a very, very fancy, decorated pipe. So yeah, maybe we'll see if I can find some other examples and post these. Okay, next we have calumniate, or is it calumniate? There we go, calumniate. Calumniate. This is a verb from 1554. We are starting with transitive, and I think it's only transitive. 1, to utter maliciously false statements, charges, or imputations about. 2, to injure the reputation of by calumny, or calumny, which is our next word, calumny. So, to injure the reputation of by calumny. We'll learn more about that shortly. And then the synonym is the word malign, M-A-L-I-G-N. Calumniation is a noun, and calumniator is also a noun, the one who is doing the calumniating. So here we go with calumny, calumny. I think that's how you would say it. Also just calumny. Noun from the 15th century. 1, a misrepresentation intended to harm another's reputation. A misrepresentation intended to harm another's reputation. 2, the act of uttering false charges or misrepresentations maliciously calculated to harm another's reputation. Sounds very mean. Don't do this. Don't be a calumniator. Calumnious is an adjective, and calumniously is an adverb. Next is calutron. Calutron. Noun from 1945. An electromagnetic apparatus for separating isotopes according to their masses. Sounds very fancy. And this is, it's a cyclotron that is used or made in the California University. So you get the Cal from California, the U from university, and the tron from cyclotron. Calutron. Very clever. Next we have Calvados. Calvados. This is a noun from 1906. An applejack made in Calvados. What is Calvados, you say? Well, this is from the French word Calvados, which is a department in Normandy, France. A department? So it's a section of Normandy, France. And it is an applejack made there. But what is this, an applejack? Is this a drink? Maybe we'll look into that. Okay, next is calvarium. Calvarium. A noun from the 14th century. The portion of a skull, including the brain case and excluding the lower jaw or lower jaw and facial portion. The portion of a skull, including the brain case and excluding the lower jaw or lower jaw. So it's most of the skull. That's what the calvarium is. The part that contains most of the stuff. This is from the Latin word calvaria, which means skull, from calvus, which means bald, probably akin to the Sanskrit word kulva, which means bald. I mean, yeah, if you look at your skull, it's got no hair. It's just a bald. That would be very funny to see a skull with hair. Yeah. Okay. Next we have Calvary, noun from 1738. 1. An open-air representation of the crucifixion of Jesus. Number 2. An experience of usually intense mental suffering. And I think I said this wrong. Calvary. I think I put another L in there. Calvary. That's what this one is. This is from Calvary with a capital C, which is the hill near Jerusalem where Jesus was crucified. Whoa. Okay. I guess they know the exact spot. Next we have Calvary Cross. I think we can see where this is going. Noun from 1826. A Latin cross usually mounted on 3 steps. And then it says to see the cross illustration. Next is calve. Calve or cave. C-A-L-V-E. Don't get confused by that L. It's just calve or cave. Verb from before the 12th century. Intransitive is first. 1. To give birth to a calf. Also, to produce offspring. 2. Is talking about an ice mass, so like a glacier. To separate or break so that a part becomes detached. So yeah, it's just the idea of one thing, a smaller portion leaving the bigger portion. And then transitive, number 1, to produce by birth. Number 2 is again talking about the ice mass, to let become detached. I'm just going to let you become detached from me. I have not seen this in person, but I have seen some video of glaciers calving, and it is a stunning sight. And unfortunately, these days we are seeing larger and larger portions calving off of glaciers, and glaciers getting smaller and smaller. And hey, we can stop this process. We can stop the Earth from warming and stopping this from happening. This is not a normal cycle that is supposed to be happening right now. Yes, glaciers will calve parts off sometimes, but not as quickly as it's happening now, and not to such large pieces. So do what you can to lower your carbon footprint. I am mostly talking to you, countries and corporations. Please and thank you. And then the etymology doesn't really help all that much. And then our last word is just calves, C-A-L-V-E-S. This is just the plural of calf, like the calf on your leg or the calf from a cow. So we had caltrop, calumet, calumniate, calumny or calumny, calutron, calvados, calvarium, calvary, calvary cross, calve, and calves. Well, so I'm going to pick a word, not necessarily because I wanted to pick the word, but mostly because in the definition, I thought that it would be a little bit easier to make a song of it. Yes, I am cheating a little bit, but the word is going to be calumny, C-A-L-U-M-N-Y, and I'm going to use the first definition in my song, I think. Let me think about this for 1 second. Yeah, I don't know what song is going to come out of my mouth, but we'll see what happens. I always go to the same tune, don't I? It's not even a tune, it's just a thing. If you want to know the definition of calumny, you just have to say, a misrepresentation intended to harm a reputation. A misrepresentation intended to harm another's reputation. Don't harm people's reputation. Thank you very much for listening. These songs are terrible, but it's a muscle, and I hope by the end of this book, they will be a little bit better, and maybe we'll bring in some music, and we'll actually put some preparation into it. But that's not going to happen for a long, long time. Don't expect that anytime soon. You're just going to have to suffer through this. But don't worry, it's not as bad for you as it is for me. Thank you very much for listening, and until next time, this is Spencer dispensing information. Goodbye. Hello, word nerds. Welcome to the dictionary. We are at the top of page 177. Actually, technically, we are at the bottom of page 176. Only for 2 lines, though. Yeah. Good stuff. Okay, the first word is the wonderful Calvin cycle. Capital C for Calvin. Second word, cycle. This is a noun from 1957. The cycle of enzyme-catalyzed dark reactions of photosynthesis that occurs in the chloroplasts of plants and in many bacteria, and that involves the fixation of carbon dioxide and the formation of a 6-carbon sugar. All right, this is from Melvin Calvin. Melvin Calvin. Wow, that's a bad name. Melvin Calvin. Who named their kid Melvin Calvin? Okay, next is Calvinism with a capital C. This is a noun. It's not from Melvin Calvin. From circa 1570. The theological system of Calvin and his followers, marked by strong emphasis on the sovereignty of God, the depravity of humankind, and the doctrine of predestination. The doctrine of predestination. A Calvinist is a noun or an adjective. Calvinistic is an adjective, and Calvinistically is an adverb. You're doing that in such a Calvinistically way. This is from John Calvin, so people thought he had some good ideas. The next is the word calypso, Calypso, first form, noun from the 14th century. 1 is capitalized. A sea nymph in Homer's Odyssey who keeps Odysseus 7 years on the island of Ogygia. I don't know how to pronounce that one. Capital Ogyggia, the island of Ogygia. Now we have number 2, which is plural, not capitalized. This is it goes over to the second line. A bulbous, why couldn't I read that word? A bulbous bog orchid of northern regions bearing a single white to purplish flower. And the scientific name is Calypso bulbosa. It's right there in the name. It's a calypso, and it's bulbous. Calypso bulbosa. Let's see. And it looks like this is from the Greek word calypso with a K. Okay, next is the second form of calypso. This is a noun from 1900. A style of music originating in the West Indies, marked by lively duple meter and having lyrics that are often improvised and usually satirize local personalities and events. Also, a song in this style. Maybe I'll find an example and play it here.
Mama, look a boo-boo, they shout. The mother tell them, shut up your mouth. That is your daddy. Oh no, my daddy can't be ugly so.
Calypsonian is a noun or an adjective. So this is from Trinidad English. It's an alternative of Kaiso, Kaiso, which is perhaps ultimately of African origin, akin to Eastern Caribbean or Caribbean, however you want to say that. Caribbean English, the word caliso or cariso, which means a satirical song. I had no idea that calypso songs were meant to be satirical. That's kind of cool. All right, next we have calyptra, Calyptra, noun from circa 1753, a hood-like structure in a plant, especially haploid tissue forming a membranous hood over the capsule in a moss. And this is from Greek calyptra with a K, which means veil, like a bride wears a veil. That's just the first example I could think of, which is from calyptine, which means to cover. And there's more at the word hell, Hell. Not sure how that is connected to this. Let's do a little microphone adjustment. Let's do that, and let's do that. Okay, next is calyx, Calyx. This is a noun from 1693. 1. The usually green outer whorl, WHORL, of a flower, a whorl of a flower, consisting of sepals. 2. A cup-like animal structure as the body wall of a crinoid, CRINOID. That reminds me, we just last night rewatched the movie Tremors from 1989, 1990. Depends on where you look at you get the date. And they called the snake creatures graboids. Because, yep. I feel like I forgot something that I meant to say before, and now I'm not seeing it, so maybe I said it. Yeah, I think we're good there. So that is a calyx. So this is from, let's see, there's more of the word chalice. You can go there to learn more about calyx. Next is calzone. You could also say calzone. You could also say calzone. And you could also say calzone. Or as Ben Wyatt from Parks and Rec likes to say, calzona. Something like that. Noun from 1947, a baked or fried turnover of pizza dough stuffed with various fillings, usually including cheese. I could definitely go for a calzona right about now. This is from, it's Italian, the singular. Calzone is the singular of calzoni, which means pants. It's augmented of calza, which means stocking, from Middle Latin calcea, from Latin calcaeus, which means shoe. And then it's connected to that calc or calx word, which means heel. So are calzones the pants of pizzas? I don't understand how they got to this pizza dough thing, but who doesn't like a calzone? Next is cam, C-A-M. The pronunciation guide said K-A-M. This is the first form, noun from 1777, a rotating or sliding piece as an eccentric wheel or a cylinder with an irregular shape in a mechanical linkage used especially in transforming rotary motion into linear motion or vice versa. A rotating or sliding piece in a mechanical linkage used especially in transforming rotary motion into linear motion or vice versa. I think I can imagine this in my head. Maybe I'll see if I can find a picture or a GIF or a video or you can just look it up yourself. But they use it with gears and things. Now we have the second form of cam, noun from 1977, a full 200 years after the other one. The synonyms are camera, especially video camera. Next is CAM, all caps, abbreviation for 1. Computer-aided manufacturing, 2. Complementary and alternative medicine. You are doing it complementary to non-alternative medicine, regular medicine. Next is camaraderie. Ooh, you can say this a few ways. Camaraderie, yeah. Noun from 1840, a spirit of friendly good fellowship. I don't think they mean a spirit as in a ghost. It's just, the spirit of good times, a spirit of friendly good fellowship. Good fellowship of the ring. And then this is from the word, a French word, camarade, which means comrade. So, camaraderie. It's good stuff to have. Be good with people. Next is camarilla, or you could say camarilla, because there's a double L. Noun from 1834, a group of unofficial, often secret, and scheming advisors. Also the synonym cabal, C-A-B-A-L. This is a Spanish word, camarilla, and it literally means small room. So when they want to have their secret and scheming meetings, they sneak off into a small room, and they said, what are we going to call this? Well, we're in a small room, which we call a camarilla, so let's just call this a camarilla. Next is camas, C-A-M-A-S, or two S's. Or, interesting, you could spell it and pronounce it Quamish with a Quamash. So Quamas or Quamish. Noun from 1805, any of a genus of plants of the lily family, chiefly of the western U.S. with edible bulbs. Compare to the synonym death camas. The scientific name is Camassia, or the genus name is Camassia, and especially Camassia quamish. I think that would be the scientific name of a specific one. This is from a Nez Perce word. I believe that is an indigenous American Indian language, group of people and language, Nez Perce. The word is chemis, which is spelled Quemes. There is, I don't know why it lists it twice, but there's an apostrophe after the M and an accent over the first E, and that's what it comes from. Next, we have our last word, but two forms, camber, Camber. First form is a verb from 1627. Intransitive says to curve upward in the middle. And transitive, number 1, to arch slightly. 2, to impart camber to. To impart camber to. And this is from Middle French cambre, which means curved. And then our second form of camber is a noun from 1823. 1, a slight convexity, arching, or curvature, as of a beam, deck, or road. 2, the convexity of the curve of an airfoil from the leading edge to the trailing edge. 3, a setting of the wheels of an automotive vehicle closer together at the bottom than at the top. So it all has to do with curves and angles, sort of, and my cat is trying to get under some pillows right now. All right, so we had Calvin, cycle, Calvinism, calypso, calyptra, calyx, calzone, cam, or cam, camaraderie, camarilla, camus, and camber. Well, I think I have to pick calzone as the word of the episode. Let's see. I'm trying to get out of my head and not pick the same sort of tune structure feeling that I tend to go to. Let's see. Man, it might almost be easier if I do a rap and I don't worry so much about tune and stuff, but I don't think I have to do that. Also, rapping makes me required to think about rhymes off the top of my head, which I'm not usually so good at. Okay. Just about songs. What I could possibly do is think about a tune that I already know, and then I could use that. That would almost be easier, but I can't think of one at the moment. Pizza dough. You put the ingredients on the pizza dough, and then you fold it, and it becomes a calzone. That's not terrible. Thank you very much for listening, and until next time, this is Spencer, dispensing information. Goodbye. Hello, word nerds. Welcome to the dictionary. Thank you for turning on this podcast, and I hope you enjoy what I have to say to you today. The first word is cambrium. It's a lowercase c. Cambium. Cambium. I think that's what I meant to say. Cambium. Noun from 1671. A thin, formative layer between the xylem and phloem of most vascular plants that gives rise to new cells and is responsible for secondary growth. Xylem is Xylem, and phloem is Phloem. And this is from Middle Latin. It means exchange, from Latin cambire, which means to exchange, and there's more at the word change. And cambial is an adjective. Next we have Cambodian with a capital C, noun from 1770. 1, a native or inhabitant of Cambodia. 2 is the number 2 definition for the word, don't know how to pronounce this one, I'm just going to say Khmer, and it is spelled Khmer. And then Cambodian is also an adjective. It's very simple. It's just a native or inhabitant of Cambodia. But I don't know what this Khmer is. Next, we have Cambrian. Could also say Cambrian. Capital Cambrian. Adjective from 1604. 1. Synonym is Welsh. 2. Of, relating to, or being the earliest geological period of the Paleozoic era, or the corresponding system of rocks marked by fossils of nearly every major invertebrate animal group. And then it says to see the geologic timetable. I didn't know we had it in the book. There was a geologic timetable. That's good to know. So I can teach you some of that stuff. Cambrian or Cambrian is also a noun. So this is from Cambria or Cambria, which is in Wales, from MW. What is MW? MW is Middle Welsh. Middle Welsh. I should have been able to figure that out. It is from Middle Welsh, Cymru, Cymri, which is either in Wales or it means Wales or Welshman. And so I know there's a thing called the Cambrian explosion, and I believe it was during this time, which is sort of mentioned here in the definition, that lots and lots of animals were created and evolved, and it was a big time for animals. Yay, animals. Yeah, I think that's... And why it's connected to Wales, I don't know. Maybe that's where it started from in that area. I'm not sure exactly on that one. Moving on to cambric. Noun from 1530. 1. A fine, thin, white linen fabric. 2. A cotton fabric that resembles cambric. So it's either the cambric or it's something that resembles cambric. This is a Dutch word, or from a Dutch word, capital K-A-M-E-R-I-J-K, R-I-J-K, cambric, and that is from Cambrai, France. Okay, next is cambric tea. 2 words. It's like the tea that you drink. I think I might have some tea after this. Noun from 1859. A hot drink of water, milk, sugar, and often a small amount of tea. You don't want too much tea in your cambric tea, just a little bit. Why? Oh, they probably drink it this way in Cambrai, France, and that's why they call it cambric tea. So it's really just water, milk, sugar, and then you get a little bit of tea. What kind of tea do they use? I don't know. Next is camcorder, noun from 1861, a small, portable, combined camera and video recording device. And this is from camera plus recorder, camcorder. Yeah, this, I guess it just really became video camera. Really, any camera now, most cameras also do video. Camcorder. I don't know. It's an odd word. It's a camera that can also record. But isn't that kind of what just cameras are anyway? They're recording something, either a still image or video. That's what they are. Next is the word came, C-A-M-E, first form. It is the past form of the word come, C-O-M-E. Come over here. I did. I came over. I came over here. Okay, second form of came. It is a noun from 1688. A slender, grooved lead rod used to hold together panes of glass, especially in a stained glass window. They call those cames, I guess. The origin is unknown. We have no idea why they call these things that. Next is the word camel, noun from before the 12th century. 1. Either of 2 large ruminant mammals used as draft and saddle animals in desert regions, especially of Africa and Asia. Then we have... I should say the genus name is Camelus. So it's camel with the letters U-S, Camelus. And then we have 1A, the one-humped camel, extant only as a domestic or feral animal, called also dromedary. And the scientific name is Camelus dromedarius. And then we have 1B, the two-humped camel. See, the first one was one-humped. Then we have the two-humped camel of Chinese Turkestan and Mongolia. And this is called also Bactrian camel. And the scientific name is Camelus bactrianus, and then also Camelus ferus. And number 2, a watertight structure used especially to lift submerged ships. You bet you didn't see that one coming. They call that lift submerged ships. They call that thing a camel. And finally, number 3, a light yellowish brown. It's just the color of a camel. Next is camelback, one word, noun from 1860, the back of a camel. Why you need a word for the back of a camel, I'm not exactly sure. Oh, I guess it's like horseback. It's like you ride horseback, then you ride camelback, because oftentimes people are doing that. So that's that, but it's also, these days, it is a brand. It's a thing that you wear on your back. When you go for long runs, you fill it with water or Gatorade or something like that, and you can drink your liquids while you're jogging, hiking, running, whatever it is. Okay, next is cameleer with an E-E-R at the end. This is a noun from 1808, a camel driver. So a cameleer is riding a camel camelback. And they are sitting on camel hair, which is our next word, camel hair or camel's hair with an apostrophe S, noun from the 14th century. 1, the hair of the camel or a substitute for it, as hair from squirrels' tails. So if they use camel hair in something and they don't have any camel hair, they use squirrel hair from their tail. 2, cloth made of camel hair or a mixture of camel hair and wool, usually light tan and of soft, silky texture. Next is camelid. This is a noun from 1911, any of a family of two-toed ruminant artiodactyl mammals having a 3-chambered stomach and including the camels, llamas, and vicuña. So let's see. All of those animals have are two-toed. They have artiodactyl feet. Does that mean that they're two-toed? I'm not sure. And they have 3-chambered stomachs. Okay, so the family name is Camelidae, and that I think is good for that. Okay, next we have camellia, 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 noun from circa 1753, any of a genus of shrubs or trees of the tea family. Maybe you can put some of that tea in your cambric or cambric tea. Especially an ornamental greenhouse shrub with glossy leaves and rose-like flowers. So the genus name is Camellia, and the scientific name of this greenhouse shrub is Camellia japonica, which I think basically means Japanese, so maybe that's where it lives. So this is from, let's see, New Latin, camelus. It is from George Joseph Camel, with a K. George, see, this, all of this stuff is spelled not the way that I would normally spell them, but he's from, he's a Moravian. Is that a place? George has no E. Joseph is Josef, and Camel is with a K. He died in 1706. He was a Moravian Jesuit missionary. So he probably found these. Next we have camelopard. Camel, and then O-P-A-R-D, camelopard. This, I'm so curious about what this is. It is a noun from the 14th century. 1 is archaic. Oh, okay. I see where we're going with this. The synonym is giraffe, camelopard. And then number 2 is capitalized, and we have the synonym, which is our next word, which is, how do I say this? Camelopardalis. 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 I think that's 6 syllables. It has a capital C, by the way. So I think I'll read this. No, I'll read the etymology for camelopard first. This is, it's that camelopard, it's from the Greek camelopardalis, from camelos or camelos, which means camel, plus pardalis, which means leopard. That's what I was thinking. Leopards, I think, have spots, and camels don't. And I think what I'm gathering is that when they first saw a giraffe, they said, well, it's sort of like a camel. It sort of has a similar shape and face and all that, even though it's a lot bigger. But it also has these spots, and we know leopards have spots. So we don't really know what to call this thing. So we're going to call it we're going to combine camel and leopard, because that's actually what I would do, probably. And I would say it's a camelopard, camelopard, but that's too much, camelopard. And then later somebody said, that's a terrible name. Just call it a giraffe. And everybody was like, yeah, that makes sense. We'll call it a giraffe. Moving on to camelopardalis. This is a noun from 1836, a northern constellation between Cassiopeia and Ursa Major. So yeah, it's from camelopardalis. It means camelopard. So does this constellation look like a giraffe? We'll have to look into this one. And then our last word is Camelot, capital Camelot, noun from the 15th century. Number 1, the site of King Arthur's palace and court. It's only a model. Number 2, a time, place, or atmosphere of idyllic happiness. It feels like Camelot. So we had today, all the words were cambium, Cambodian, Cambrian, cambric tea, camcorder, camel, camelback, cameleer, camel hair, camelid, camellia, camelopard. You have to make sure you emphasize the right syllables. Camelopard, camelopardalis, and Camelot. Okay, so it is song time. For those who don't know why it is song time, go back and listen from earlier on in the seas, and you can know what I'm talking about. Kind of tempted to do camelopard. Did I like anything else in here? I mean, Cambrian is pretty good too, but camelopard. Camels and leopards, they got together and they made a camelopard. No, that's not how it goes. How does it go? Camels and leopards, they don't look anything alike. You combine them and you get camelopard, and that means giraffe. Thank you very much for listening, and until next time, this is Spencer dispensing information. Goodbye. Hello, word nerds. Welcome to the dictionary. That is a phrase I will have said thousands and thousands and thousands of times by the time this is done, I think. Okay, the first word in this episode is, you have to say it with a French accent, camembert. It is capital Camembert, camembert, noun from 1877, a soft surface ripened cheese. Soft surface ripened cheese with a thin grayish white rind and a yellow interior. And this is from Camembert, which is in Normandy, France. Normandy, France is where you'll find Camembert. Next is cameo, noun from the 15th century. 1a, a gem carved in relief, especially a small piece of sculpture on a stone or shell cut in relief in one layer with another contrasting layer serving as a background. Maybe we can find an example of that. I sort of think I can imagine this. 1b, a small medallion with a profiled head in relief. 2, a carving or sculpture made in the manner of a cameo. 3, a usually brief literary or filmic piece that brings into delicate or sharp relief the character of a person, place, or event. Interesting. None of these yet. I think the number 4 is what I think it is, but none of these yet are what I think of when I think of cameo, because this word has other meanings that most of us are not aware of. And so it's interesting to sort of see the evolution of this, that it goes from this, I don't know, what am I trying to say? Number 3, a literary or filmic device. I've not heard of cameo used in this way before. Well, let's read number 4 and we'll come back to it. A small theatrical role usually performed by a well-known actor and often limited to a single scene. Broadly, a brief appearance or role. So number 3 said, a usually brief literary or filmic piece that brings into delicate or sharp relief the character of a person, place, or event. So you learn a little bit more briefly, I guess, and it's sort of similar to the sculpture. You're cutting the things out so you can show what it is from this other thing. I don't know. Yeah, okay. Cameo is also an adjective and also a transitive verb. The etymology is just a couple languages and other words. Okay. It is also a thing, an app that people can use these days where they can give money to famous people and have them send them a text or a video message, and that's a thing that's happening now. Next, we have camera. Camera. Noun from 1712. 1. The Treasury Department of the Papal Curia. No clue what that is. 2a. Synonym is camera obscura, which we will be getting to shortly. 2b. A device that consists of a light-proof chamber with an aperture fitted with a lens and a shutter through which the image of an object is projected onto a surface for recording, as on film, or for translation into electrical impulses, as for television broadcast. Lots of stuff there. Basically, it's a box that has some stuff, and there is a lens that the stuff... you know what? Their definition is better. Just listen to them. We have a phrase. We have a couple of phrases. First one is off camera. 1. While not being filmed by a television or movie camera, as in, he's a different person off camera. Yeah, he's probably himself. Number 2, outside the scope of a television or movie camera, as in, sounds of gunfire taking place off camera. Now we have another phrase, on camera. You can be one or the other, off camera or on camera. 1, before a live television camera, as in, go on camera. Also, while being filmed by a television or movie camera, as in, looked relaxed on camera. Most people cannot do that. 2, within the scope of a television or movie camera, as in, you can hear a dog, but he never appears on camera. You know why? Because he's off camera. So this is a Latin word, which means room, and there's more at the word chamber. So it's a little room where the film lives, where the digital sensor lives, and other mechanical things. Okay, next we have camera lucida. Camera lucida, 2 words. Noun from 1753. Lucida is Lucida. An instrument that by means of a prism or mirrors and often a microscope causes a virtual image of an object to appear as if projected upon a plane surface so that an outline may be traced. Might have to look up more examples of this one. This is New Latin, and it literally means light chamber. That's what lucida means, light, and camera means chamber. So it's chamber light, but it's light chamber. Next we have cameraman, 1 word, noun from 1908. We will have camera woman shortly. So this one is a person who operates a camera, as for motion pictures or television. Next is camera obscura, 2 words, noun from 1725. A darkened enclosure having an aperture usually provided with a lens through which light from external objects enters to form an image of the objects on the opposite surface. So this was basically the first camera. Somebody figured out that if you create a completely darkened room and then you have a tiny little hole on one side, that would be the aperture. I think the first ones didn't have a lens attached to it. But what happens when you have that tiny little hole of light into a completely dark room is that the image from outside goes into the aperture, into the hole, and then it gets projected on the opposite side, and it actually gets flipped upside down, and it projects an image. So that was the first one, and then they figured out that they could put a film on that side and they could record that image. And then they figured out that you could put a lens on there and you could change the way it looks and you could focus it, and it just slowly got turned into just a camera. And what I think is so interesting about this is that this is just physics. This just happens in the natural world without you doing anything, given the right circumstances. So, for instance, you could be in your room that's completely dark and it's maybe light outside. You've put maybe blackout curtains or whatever, or just your shades, and there could be a little hole in the shades or in your blinds or whatever it is, and an image will come through there and project onto your wall. So, I mean, you can probably easily mock this up in your room, and it's a fun experiment to do. I've seen it in my own life, but I've also seen people post pictures of this that just by happenstance, this situation created an image on their wall, and it's just fascinating how that works, how physics works like that. And so people figure this out in 1725, and then they made cameras from that. And by the way, this just literally means dark chamber. So camera obscura is dark chamber, and camera lucida is light chamber. Okay. Next is camera person, noun from 1976, a man or woman who operates a camera. And then camera woman is a noun from 1971, a woman who operates a camera. A camera woman, camera person, cameraman. Next is camera lengo, one word. Oh, sorry, it's camerlengo. There's no A. Camerlengo, one word, noun from 1753. A cardinal who heads the apostolic camera. Okay, well, apostolic, I think I said that word correctly. Cardinal is not the bird, it's the person. Camerlengo. And then this is the, going back to the number one definition of camera, the Treasury Department of the Papal Curia. So it's the cardinal who is the Treasury Department, or who runs the Treasury Department. I think so. Okay. Next is Cameroonian with a capital C. This is a noun from 1965. 1, a native or inhabitant of Cameroon. Number 2, a native or inhabitant of the Cameroons, plural. And then Cameroonian is an adjective. Next we have camion. I think that's how it's pronounced. Camion. Camion. Noun from 1911. Synonym is motor truck. Also the synonym bus. And this is a French word, so that's how the French say motor truck or bus, probably. Camion. And then somehow some people say it in English language. I'm not sure. Next we have camisado. Camisado or camisado. This is a noun from 1548. It is archaic and it means an attack by night. Camisado. And this is probably from the obsolete Spanish word camisada. Okay. And then our last word is camise. 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 Noun from 1812. A light, loose, long-sleeved shirt, gown, or tunic. Camise. And this is an Arabic word, camis, spelled Qamis, ultimately from Latin camisia. Okay, we had camembert, cameo, camera, camera lucida, cameraman, camera obscura, camera person, camera woman, camerlengo, Cameroonian, camion, camisado, camis. Well, I'm definitely leaning towards camera obscura as the word of the episode. If you couldn't figure out, I mean, camera's pretty good too, which I guess sort of encompasses camera obscura in a sense. Let's see. Yes, I'm thinking of song things. and how do you do something different? It's always very descriptive. You start describing the thing, and you sort of put a tune to it. Go to your room and turn off the lights. Put up some curtains and poke a hole. Then you've got a camera obscura. Yeah, I mean, that's technically a song. Thank you very much for listening, and until next time, this is Spencer dispensing information. Goodbye. Good evening, word nerds. Welcome to another episode of The Dictionary. It is not evening as I am recording this, but maybe it is for you. We are at the end of page 177. Thank you for listening and turning on this podcast. I hope that you enjoy this and you tell the people about it, and you can please give me a review. Yes, thank you. You can rate it, you can review it, you can subscribe to it, you can send me emails and messages, and you can call my Google Voice. Nobody has called it yet. In, what is this, 2 years? Nothing. I got nothing. And then if you want to join the Patreon, you can get episodes very early. Okie dokie. The first word is camisole or camisole, Camisole, noun from 1795. 1. A short negligee jacket for women. A negligee jacket? I think of like, what's the word I'm thinking of? That doesn't make sense in my brain. A negligee, okay. Number 2, a short sleeveless garment for women. So this is French from Occitan camisola, a diminutive of camisa, which means a shirt. And that's good. Next we have camlet. Noun from the 15th century. 1a, a medieval Asian fabric of camel hair or Angora wool. 1b, a European fabric of silk and wool. 1c, a fine, lustrous woolen. Well, when I see the word woolen, I think that's an adjective, so it's a woolen something, but that's not what they said here, a fine, lustrous woolen, so it must also be a noun. Number 2, a garment made of camlet. This is from Middle English, cameloit. From Middle French, camelot. From the Arabic, kamlat, Khamlat, and that means woolen plush. Kamlat, woolen plush. Okay. Next is camo. First form, adjective from 1980. Synonym is camouflage. Second form of camo, noun from also 1980. A combination of colors and patterns, typically of camouflage. Also, a camouflage garment or outfit. I'm actually very curious now when camouflage was invented, but we will find that out shortly. Next is chamomile. This is a variation of chamomile spelled differently. The normal one is Chamomile, and this one has no H. Next is camorra or camara, Camorra, noun from 1865, a group of persons united for dishonest or dishonorable ends, especially a secret organization formed about 1820 in Naples, Italy. Okay, and this is an Italian word, camorra. What's with all these words that we're finding? We got this one, is dishonorable and dishonest ends, and then we had that other one that was sort of similar a few episodes ago. Anyway, okay, next we have camorrista, noun from 1897, and it is a member of a camorra. This is also an Italian word. A camorrista is part of a camorra. Next is camouflage. This is one of those words that's sort of weird to spell, so I will tell you how to spell it. It is Camouflage. Camouflage. It's all the same. This is the first form, noun from 1917. All right, so that's when camouflage was invented, probably. Well, actually, I wouldn't be surprised if humans have been using camouflage in some way, but that's when this word was invented in English. Number 1, the disguising, especially of military equipment or installations with paint, nets, or foliage. Also, the disguise so applied. 2A, concealment by means of disguise. 2B, behavior or artifice designed to deceive or hide. Camouflagic is an adjective. So this is from the French word, or is a French word, which is from camoufler, which means to disguise. When was that word coined? I don't know, but I know it was coined in 1917 in English. That's when we started using it. Okay, next is the second form of camouflage, verb from 1917. Transitive is first. To conceal or disguise by camouflage. Intransitive says to practice camouflage. Camouflageable is an adjective, something that is able to be camouflaged. Third form of camouflage, adjective from 1942. Made in colors or patterns typical of camouflage, as in a camouflage jacket. I love seeing those pictures on the internet that say something like, there is a person in this photo. See if you can find them. Oh, I got the yawns. Or there is a cat or something. And they are very, very well camouflaged. Next is our last word. It is the word camp, C-A-M-P. We got 2 forms here. The other forms, I think there's more than one, right? We got one form, but yeah, 3 more forms in the next episode, which may have a guest. Okay, camp, first form, noun from 1528. 1A, a place usually away from urban areas where tents or simple buildings are erected for shelter or for temporary residence. Other examples of the simple buildings are cabins, and temporary residence could be for laborers, prisoners, or vacationers. Maybe they're all together. The vacationers are hanging out with the prisoners, and then there's people working. As in migrant labor camp. This one has a lot of negative connotations. We don't like this one so much. 1B, a group of tents, cabins, or huts, as in fishing camps along the river. 1C, a settlement newly sprung up in a lumbering or mining region. That's where all the people who are working, who are lumberers or miners, they are living in a camp. 1D, a place usually in the country for recreation or instruction, often during the summer, as in goes to camp every July. Also, a program offering access to recreational or educational facilities for a limited period of time. As in computer camp. Also as in a resort offering boating and hiking camps. 1E, a preseason training session for athletes, as in the star pitcher injured in camp this spring. 2A, a body of persons encamped. The whole group of them are called a camp. 2B1, a group of persons, especially a group engaged in promoting or defending a theory, doctrine, position, or person. 2B2, an ideological position. And 3, military service or life. This is from the Middle French dialect word from the Picard region, or the Picard dialect, or Old Occitan from the Latin campus, which means plain or field. And so that is typically where a camp would be created, a flat area with no trees, and you can just put up a bunch of tents and stuff. So that's where camp comes from. Second form of camp, this is the very last word for this episode. Intransitive verb, it's also transitive. It's a verb from 1543, starting with intransitive. 1, to make camp or occupy a camp. 2, to live temporarily in a camp or outdoors, often used with the word out. Let's go camp out and make some s'mores. 3. To take up one's quarters. Synonym is lodge. 4. To take up one's position. Settle down. Also often used with the word out, as in camp out in the library for the afternoon. Also, sometimes people camp out in line before something big is being sold or tickets are being released or something along those lines. Have I ever camped out? I don't think so. I mean, I've definitely gotten in line for a concert early, so that's sort of camping out, but I don't think I've ever brought a chair. I don't think I've ever done anything more extreme than that. And we have the transitive definition, to put into a camp. Also the synonym accommodate. So we had camisole, camlet, camo, chamomile, camorra, camarista, camouflage, and camp. I think I will pick camouflage as the word of the episode because I just find it so fascinating that so many animals are naturally created to be camouflaged so well. It's pretty fascinating. I just love seeing those pictures of animals camouflaged on trees or in the brush or in a forest or whatever. When you see it, you're like, wow, that's astonishing. That's amazing that nature can do something like this and create, these feathers on this owl to make it look like the top of a tree or the bark of a tree. It's really crazy. So that means I need to make a song about camouflage. Yeah. Sometimes birds get camouflaged in trees, and sometimes tigers get camouflaged in, where are they? Are they in the plains or in the forests? Something like that. But my favorite camouflage has got to be the walking stick because it looks like a stick. Oh, actually, there's some really cool leaf insects. They just look like walking leaves. I don't know. This song really just sort of died, but that's okay. Thank you very much for listening, and until next time, this is Spencer dispensing information. Goodbye. Hello, word nerds. Welcome to another episode of The Dictionary. It's a very special episode, which you probably saw in the title. We have a guest. She is a return guest. One of the few return guests, actually. I'm trying to think. Have I had any other? Yeah, I've had a couple. But you are definitely in a very, very small group of people. Carrie Weeder, how are you?
I'm great, Spencer. Thanks for pronouncing my last name correctly. I appreciate that. Wow, great to be back.
Do you get Carrie Wider a lot?
99.999% of the time, yeah. And it's often misspelled because it's I before E. It follows the rule, but most people think it's E before I. And fun fact, every time I book an acting job, every single time, I always make sure to tell production, please note that my last name is I before E, because they spell it wrong, and then sometimes it's wrong in the credits, and then that's no good. So,
and hopefully it's not wrong on your paycheck.
Well, that doesn't matter. You can just sign it wrong and then
I guess so, yeah.
Sign it right. Yeah. So, and paychecks are becoming less and less of a thing now. A lot of it's
True.
More direct deposit and Venmo even, and
right.
Yeah. So
I gotta say, every time I type your name, I know how it's spelled, but my fingers, they don't want to do that for some reason. I don't know what is happening, but I know the actual spelling. They just don't type it correctly the first time around. But I get there.
Yeah.
I get there.
Yeah, it's misspelled both my names because Carrie can be spelled so many ways
God,
too.
Yeah.
So yeah, I had a friend one time who emailed me to apologize for misspelling my last name, and then she misspelled my last name in the apology. So yeah, that's the story of my life.
Nice. All right, every time you come on, we're going to learn a little bit more about you and your life.
Oh, lovely. And then we're also going to learn these wonderful C words today, which I'm very excited about.
Yes, me too. All right, so let us get into this. We are at the very, very, very bottom of page 177, but most of this will be on the top of page 178. Oh, and I should ask you, this will be airing on January 9th. Does January 9th have any special meaning to you?
To me, no. No, why?
No, I would just if it did, that was going to be
Oh.
a nice coincidence or a synchronicity, but
Oh,
I just
well,
wanted to
it's
find out.
my father's birthday was January 12th,
Okay, that's
so
close.
but yeah, close. Yeah. And I always try to okay, now this year I don't think I can do it. Usually around my father passed 5 years ago, and to in honor of him, I usually see if there's a Star Wars movie out. I usually
Mm.
see it around my father's birthday, but I don't think there's a Star Wars movie coming out this year, is there?
Not that I know of. Man, I've like lost track of Star Wars stuff. I know that the Mandalorian is still going strong, so maybe you could just
Yes.
watch that instead.
Yeah, I don't have the Disney
I
thing. I'll
don't.
have to get
Yeah,
somebody's password or something. But yeah, I'd love to see it.
yeah, definitely.
Especially that cute little baby Yoda. He's adorable.
Yes.
Adorable.
There's part of me that just wants to not watch the show just to spite people, but I'll get around to it eventually, I guess.
I can understand that. I understand that sometimes you're like, no, it's too popular, whatever. I
Right.
don't need that. But I think we'll find enjoyment in it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we are going to start this episode officially with the first word, which is camp, CAMP. This is the third form. We already did the first two forms. This one is a noun from circa 1909. Okay, this is interesting. Number one, exaggerated, effeminate mannerisms exhibited especially by homosexuals. We're just going to chug right along and then we can discuss these afterwards. 2A, something so outrageously artificial, affected, inappropriate, or out of date as to be considered amusing. That I think was 2A, right? 2A. Now we have 2B. A style or mode of personal or creative expression that is absurdly exaggerated and often fuses elements of high and popular culture, as in a movie that celebrates camp. Campily is an adverb, campiness is a noun, and campy is an adjective. Yeah, I definitely, when I think of this form of this word, I think of, oh my God, there's so many things. I guess combining all of these into one, I guess I sort of think of John Waters films, which are
Okay.
very adult. I guess that would be considered camp. Um,
Oh, yeah,
but
yeah.
but yeah, there's so many movies, so many pieces of culture out there that you would call camp. Um,
Well, to me, what's fascinating is this dates back to 1909. Like
yeah,
they had campiness back in 1909 when when life was in black and white. You know, how do you be
right.
campy in black and white?
And what did they consider as camp 111 years ago?
Right? Oh my, that would be fascinating.
That's probably more of the first definition, effeminate mannerisms by homosexuals.
Probably, yeah. You're right. You're right. I'm guessing there's probably a dissertation out there about campiness that we could find somewhere
Yeah.
and see what the early 1909 campiness looked like.
When you think of a campy movie, what sort of jumps out at your brain?
Yeah, polyester, like you said, John Waters. Um, that's the one. That's the one that jumps out at me.
Okay. I've only seen maybe a couple of his movies. I really need to go back and watch them. Kids, these are not movies for you. Just
No,
wait a few years.
not for the children.
No. Okay, we are moving on to the fourth form of camp, adjective, also from 1909. So maybe it's similar, of relating to being or displaying camp, as in camp send-ups of the songs of the 50s and 60s. That is a quote from John Elsom, Elsom. So yeah, it's all in the same world. Those two forms of camp.
I looked up John Elsom,
Oh,
and I didn't do my homework till this morning. I'm a little behind.
it's more
I, I
homework than I
s-
do.
yeah, but I tried. I found that there was a theater critic, John Elsom. I believe he was British. I believe he became a member of Parliament at some point. And I would like to know more about him. I'm intrigued. A theater critic who became a member of Parliament.
That is fascinating, actually. Yeah.
Right? But I believe he wrote for a U.S. I don't know. Maybe I'm getting these conflated and mixing a bunch of John Elsoms together. But I believe he wrote for some kind of U.S. art magazine or
Which
something, but yeah.
that totally fits in with this example. Camp send-ups of the songs of the 50s and 60s. That could totally be him.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
when you find more information, send it my way.
Yeah, I will try.
Because I'm not going to do research. That's a waste of my time. What am I talking about?
I just searched the Google. That's,
Yeah.
that's air quotes research. Yeah. Okay.
Oh,
First page. I didn't do a deep dive.
feeling lucky. Yeah, research these days is so much easier than back when we were kids.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Remember the periodical table of not the elements. What was that? Those books you would go to in the library and then you would look up a topic and it would tell you which magazines or newspapers and
Right.
which issue. Oh my golly.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was back in the day.
We have moved on so far. Okay, so we have the fifth and final form of camp. This is an intransitive verb from 1925. To engage in camp. Exhibit the qualities of camp. As in, he was camping, hands on hips, with a quick eye to notice every man who passed by. That is a quote from R.M. McCalman. McAlmon. So that's an interesting example that they give. He was camping, hands on hips, with a quick eye to notice every man who passed by. It almost seems like a song. Did you look up who this guy was or person?
I did, and I have to confess, I already forgot who he was. I don't think I found much information, but yeah, sorry.
Well, hey, if anybody wants to know more, R.M. McCalman. Okay, next is campaign. This is the first form noun from circa 1656. 1. A connected series of military operations forming a distinct phase of a war. Number 2. A connected series of operations designed to bring about a particular result, as in election campaign. This is from a French word, which might be pronounced similar. It is spelled Campagne, sort of like champagne, but this is campaign. It is probably from Italian campagna, which is means level country or campaign. Let's see, from the Latin campagna, which means level country, from the Latin the level country around Naples. That's where campaign comes from.
Yeah, what I found fascinating about this entry was that the election part was considered number 2. I feel like in 2020, the number 1 definition would be for elections, for campaign.
Yeah, that's definitely the way that most people, I think of campaigns. Not so much with war and stuff like that. But yeah, it brings up a question which I've mentioned a few times is why did they decide to put this definition before this one or make form one over, why do they organize them this way? And I think it's usually based on how often a thing is used, but yeah, in this case I would probably have put number 2 as number 1.
Correct. That's what I would say. Well, maybe as you're talking, I'm thinking, 1656, the year 1656, maybe they're doing this chronologically, how originally it was considered more to do with military, and then it became more affiliated with elections.
Yeah.
Kind of a guess.
That does
Kind of a
make
guess.
sense because I often do see ones that are archaic or obsolete as the earlier definitions, 1 or 2. So yeah, I think maybe they are doing it a bit more chronologically. Although I have a feeling it's a lot more complicated than that. There's probably some rule, like slang ones I think usually tend to go to the end. Yeah, so maybe we should ask somebody who makes dictionaries.
This is fascinating.
So we are moving on to the second form of campaign. This is a verb from 1701, starting with intransitive. To go on, engage in, or conduct a campaign. And then transitive is to enter in competition. And the examples are a horse or a boat. So to enter a horse or a boat into competition, those are just examples. You can enter lots of things into competition. And then campaigner is a noun. That is the one who is entering their horse or boat, their borse or hote into a competition.
Yeah. How about that? A campaign. So I was a little confused by that one. So I'm campaigning my boat, do you say? That
Yeah,
means
I
that
guess
now
so.
you're racing it?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely related to the first one. You're campaigning for this thing to win a competition. Yeah, it's not one that I think most of us are super familiar with, but I feel like I've heard it used in that way before.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm not very well versed in horses or boats, so okay.
No, me neither.
Okay.
Definitely not. Okay, next we have campanile. You could say campanile or campanile. You could also say campanile. Campanile. It is spelled Campanile. This is a where is it? I lost my place. It just says it's especially of U.S. structures. Oh, here we go. It's a noun from 1640. A usually freestanding bell tower, a campanile. Have you ever seen one of these?
I have, well, yes. I spent in high school, I spent a lot of time in and around UC Berkeley. It was fun to just hang out. UC Berkeley in that area is kind of, there's a whole vibe, you know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
my friends were musicians and they would play in Sproul Plaza at UC Berkeley, and there is a campanile there. So I believe there's one wasn't there one in Texas, one of the universities in Texas
Oh,
that a gunman went up and shot at people? And
yeah.
I,
I don't know if that was a bell tower specifically, but yes, that was definitely. In fact, there's a documentary, a rotoscope animated documentary called Tower, I think, all about that massacre essentially. Yeah, I don't know if it would be considered a campanile, but it definitely was a tower of some kind.
yeah, I associate it with universities, but I think
Yeah,
also like religious.
like churches or
Yes, yes,
yeah.
cathedrals.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then when you were at UC Berkeley, did you know that it was called a campanile, or did you just
Yeah,
learn that?
yeah. That's what people called it. When I saw the word on here, I was like, oh, like at UC Berkeley.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. We called it campanile. We
Right, right.
California.
The American way
Campanile
to say it,
sounds, yeah. Campanile sounds a little more sophisticated,
for sure.
but
We
yeah.
all want to sound sophisticated.
Yeah.
There is a picture of this campanile, a black and white drawing. It's very ornate. It's just a square tower that just goes up, and there's some windows, some bigger windows, some smaller windows. I assume that there's a bell inside near the top. It reminds me a little bit of the towers from Lord of the Rings. Did you watch those
Ah,
movies?
I did. Okay, I can see that. I can see that. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a long, narrow tower.
It's not nearly as tall as the Lord of the Rings towers, but it definitely sort of has that. It's in that direction for sure.
Yeah, this one appears to be leaning. Is that just me?
Yeah,
The
you gotta
picture?
put your head back straight up and down.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I can't. It doesn't really. I mean, it looks pretty straight up and down to me, but who knows?
Has a sort of gothic-y vibe to it, or I'm not well versed in architecture, but
Yeah, me neither. But it's
yeah.
very ornate.
Yes, yes.
Okay, our next word is campanologist. Campanologist, noun from 1857, one who practices or is skilled in campanology. And because I said that word, I'm just going to go right into that one, which is a noun from circa 1823, because we none of us know what campanology is. It is the art, get this, the art of bell ringing.
Okay, now I was going to research this and I didn't, but I'm thinking when they're talking about bell ringing there, and this is, the holiday season, and this is when I think the only time in my life when I see this are those bell ringers who wear the white gloves and
Yes.
they make the music.
Yep.
So I'm guessing it's that, but does it also refer to the kid who would pull the bell, like when what was it? The Sound of Music? Was that the one where they show, I think, the wedding, and they show the kid like holding on to the rope of the bell tower and going up and down on the rope? Does
Um,
that,
it's been so long since have seen that movie. You are probably correct. I mean, the first example I think of is just like The Hunchback. But there are so many examples of bell ring. Yeah, church bells ringing. You know what? Honestly, I think it's both. I think
do
it's
you?
church bells ringing. I think it's the playing of the bells, more than likely. And this is probably a good place to say the etymology of campanile, which is Italian from the word campana, which means bell. So these are all related to just, it's a place for a bell. It's a person who is skilled in the art of bell ringing and just the art of bell ringing.
Interesting. Yeah. And so, as someone who speaks Spanish, campaña is a bell.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
that's very much related to Italian.
Yeah.
So our next few words are also, at least a couple words are going to be similar, have similar etymology. The next one is campanula, and this is a noun from 1664, and the synonym is just bell flower. So it's a flower called a campanula, and we definitely know where it gets its name from. It probably looks like a bell.
It does. It's a bell shaped. I looked it up. I did. That was one I looked up just to see. I love plants and flowers, and it has a bell shape. And most of the ones, when you do like an image search, come up a purple color. But they're also white and I think even pink. But they're cute. They've got these bell, kind of like a puffy belly kind of a flower. They're cute.
Nice.
I like them.
Yeah, I'll definitely post a picture on Instagram.
Oh yeah, there you go.
And then our next one is campanulate or campanulate. This is an adjective from 1668, and it just means shaped like a bell, as in campanulate flowers.
So we could say this about a person too, I'm guessing.
If a person is shaped like a bell, you can definitely call them campanulate.
Okay, I probably won't, but yeah, good to know I have that option.
Yes, maybe you can just say it to yourself. I'm trying to think I mean, there must be people who are shaped like a bell, sort of.
Sure. Bell shaped. Well, they say barrel shaped, but barrel could be bell.
Pear shaped, triangle shaped.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you find somebody who is shaped like a bell, I need to know about this.
Oh, and then you could post a picture.
Yes. So
Okay.
so you could have oh boy, there's a lot of campagna words. They're all bell related. Okay, we are going to move on to let's see, Campbellite or let's see, there's a couple ways. Campbellite or Campbellite. It looks like the name Campbell with a P and a B and then ITE at the end. This is a noun from 1830. It is sometimes offensive, so maybe you want to think twice before you use this word, Campbellite. And it is the number 2 definition for the word disciple. And this is from Alexander Campbell, who was maybe a disciple. I don't know. Did you look into this guy?
I did. And again, since I did it at the last minute, I just found a bit of information. I believe it was a father and a son who kind of wanted to have their own church. They started their own church, and similar, or maybe an offshoot of the Baptist church. And they seem to sort of believe that sin was outside of you rather than being born with original sin. So, yeah, that's about as far as I got.
That's more than I got. So, yeah, I mean, I'm not entirely sure why it's sometimes offensive, but there's that.
Maybe I'm thinking that since, they're an offshoot, they don't believe that we're born with sin. It's, how silly can they be? So
Right.
maybe it has that negative connotation.
Yeah, maybe for some people it would be offensive, but to other people it might be like a badge of honor or, have the opposite feeling.
Yeah.
Okay, next is camp craft. This is all one word, noun from circa 1893. Skill and practice in the activities related to camping. I have no camp craft. What about you?
Nor do I. I did not know this was a word, in fact. Yeah, I'm not a big camper. My sister is. She frequently invites me to go camping with her, and I always say no. So, yeah, it's just not my thing.
Next time you say no, I can't go, you can say I can't go because I have no campcraft.
Yeah, my campcraft game is just lacking.
I could probably get by. I mean, I've definitely gone camping, but I've always gone camping with other people who know more about what they're doing. The
Yes.
idea of cooking food on a fire seems like, I mean, I'm not much of a cook in the first place, but that takes it to a whole other level. I mean, I would make sandwiches and drinks ahead of time. That's what I would do. I could probably make a fire. I could definitely set up a tent, but anything beyond that, I think. Oh, make s'mores. I can definitely make s'mores.
Oh, sure, sure. Yeah, I can make a fire. I'm a good fire maker. Um, but yeah, I don't have the gear. I don't have the
Hmm.
clothes. You know what I mean? I'd have to borrow a bunch of stuff,
Yes,
and
yes.
it's that stuff's expensive. Like good camping gear, like REI and all that. Jeez, Louise, it's expensive. It does last, and REI has an amazing thing where you can take anything back, but yeah, it's a lot of money to invest in, and I never invested in it. So,
Well, and you got to be interested in it. You got to be you have to want to use it to actually go buy all that stuff, I feel like. So,
yes,
if you're not
yes,
interested
it's
in it, no sense in buying it.
correct. Save your money. Save your money, kids.
So, if you are not interested in it, that means that you are not a camper, which is our next word. This is a noun from 1852. One who camps. Two, a portable dwelling for use during casual travel and camping. And then there is an example, a portable dwelling as a specially equipped trailer or automotive vehicle. So, when you were a kid, did you ever go to camp?
I went to camp once. I went to like sleepaway camp for like a week when I was a kid. Yeah, yeah. And then we did sixth grade camp as well. So I did it twice. I did it when I was like younger, like maybe second grade, third grade, and then we had sixth grade camp. Yeah.
Nice. And then do you think that, I mean, obviously, here the number two is driving a camper or living in a camper. Have you ever done that? Do you think that you ever would?
I would. I would. Yeah, but I never have. I don't think I ever have gone in a camper. I had friends, I remember like back in the 70s, like some friends their parents had one parked along the side of the house
Mm,
and we would go play in there, but
right.
I think that's the closest I've ever gotten to spending time in there. Sometimes on sets, because I'm an actress,
Oh, yeah.
sometimes they have some campers there and you go in just to hang out. If you don't have your own trailer, then there's kind of a camper you can go sit in.
Hmm.
But yeah, like on a trip, I haven't done it. It
Yeah,
might be fun.
I don't think I have either. But there's definitely part of me that, when I'm older, I think it would be fun to just sort of get maybe not a camper per se, but get something and drive around the country and just see all that's out there. I think that would be kind of fun.
Yeah, yeah.
So our next word is campesino. Campesino, Campesino. It is a noun from 1898, a native of a Latin American rural area, especially a Latin American Indian farmer or farm laborer. This is a Spanish word from
Yes.
campo, which means field or country, and then from the Latin word campus, which means field, which we read in the last episode, and that will definitely come up in the next episode as well, which I already recorded.
Wow.
So campesino.
Yeah. What I would like to say about this is that, yeah, as I mentioned, I do speak Spanish. So as soon as I see that, I think of farmer. Word can used to mean farmer. But I looked it up. I was like, just to make sure, because then there's also the word granjero, which also means farmer, which put
Hmm.
me down a campesino versus granjero word search. And campesino came up as to mean peasant, I found, or peasant farmer or country person. And then somebody on some blog or something said something about peasant isn't necessarily pejorative, because I think in the English language, when you think of peasant, you think of lesser than, or,
Right.
a peon kind of a person. But this peasant, it doesn't have the negative connotation. It just kind of means someone in the country. So I thought that was interesting.
And then what was the other word? Granjero?
Granjero, Granjero, granjero.
So that
So,
would be more of somebody who like maybe owns the farm, runs the farm, opposed to this one that is somebody in a rural area, a farm laborer, somebody who works on somebody else's farm probably.
oh, maybe you're, yeah, yeah, yeah. I could see that. Okay.
Good to know. Good to know.
Yeah, we're
Okay.
learning.
Yes. Okay. So our next word is campestral. Campestral, adjective from circa 1750, of or relating to fields or open country. And the synonym is rural, which is a hard word to say. Yeah, and this is again related to the Latin campus, which means field. Lots and lots of words are related to that.
It's lovely. I think it's a lovely word, campestral. Campestral. I think
Sounds
it's
very
nice.
poetic.
Yeah, it does. I would never probably use it, but it's a nice word. And then it reminds me of orchestral, which music. And then if you're listening to orchestral music in a campestral area, I think that's a lovely vision.
Yes, it is. I like that. You'd probably have to use some headphones because I don't know if we can put up some big speakers in a field or an open
Yeah.
country.
Yeah.
But yes, I like this. It seems very nice and relaxing.
Yeah, lovely. It's lovely. It evokes a lovely vision.
I think of
Yeah.
spring.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Okay, so our next word is campfire. One word, noun from 1675. A fire built outdoors, as at a camp or a picnic.
Lovely. Nothing like a campfire, the smell of a campfire,
Yeah.
making those marshmallows or those s'mores, just lovely.
Um, how do you like your s'mores?
Is I didn't know there was like options. Explain what
So
are my
I think
options?
the main question is how do you like to cook your marshmallow?
Oh, for me, the marshmallow, I like it almost burnt. I even can set it on fire for a second and blow it out, but I like when it's really brown.
Mm-hmm.
How about you?
I like mine pretty well golden all around the area, right? All around if I can. I like to make it pretty even. Not too cooked. I mean, I'll eat it if I accidentally burn it. I'm not gonna toss it. Uh, it's still going in me, but yeah, I'm not. I mean, I do like things that are a bit on the well cooked side, but when you
Uh-huh.
get to a marshmallow that's too cooked, it just to me tastes just like char or
It
something.
kind of does, but for some reason I enjoy the
Yeah,
char with the sweetness of the inside of the marshmallow.
yeah. They're so good.
Delicious.
And for me, I don't even really need the graham crackers. I am totally fine just putting the marshmallow in between chocolate, and that's good enough for me.
Wow. I think I kind of like the breadiness of the graham cracker on the crust. I like the crust,
Yeah, that's what it
like
is.
a good graham cracker crust, a pie with a graham cracker crust
Mm.
is so special. So that's why I like the outside having that bready sweetness.
I think part of the reason why I don't care for that part is because it's too hard to bite through, and then the marshmallow
Oh,
just gets squishy and goes out all the edges. And I would rather
oh,
be able to bite into something that's a bit softer so I can get like a real bite.
maybe you should invent soft graham
Soft
crackers.
graham crackers. They wouldn't be graham crackers. They would be graham softers. I
Graham
don't know.
softies. I think, I think that you could make a million right there.
All right. I'll take it. Now I just have to make it. Okay, our last word is campfire girl. 3 words. The C and the F in campfire are capitalized. This is a noun from 1912. A girl who is a member of a national organization of young people from ages 5 to 18. And this is from Campfire Girls, obviously. Campfire Girls Inc., which is the former name of Campfire Inc. So it was Campfire Girls Inc., and then they changed it just to Campfire Inc. because maybe boys wanted to join. I don't know. Do you know anything about this?
I don't know why they changed the name. I don't know if is Campfire Inc. related to Boy Scouts of America
See, it
or
seems like it would be, but I know that there's also Girl Scouts, and so I'm not sure why this one is different.
yeah, I'm not either. And I was a bluebird briefly for like
Okay.
a couple years, and I think it falls under the campfire
Hmm.
category. Part of the corporation, it's incorporated, but I'm not 100% sure. I should have researched this.
Well, you got some time before this airs on January 9th. You can find some more information. Oh, if you have a picture of you in your bluebird outfit, that would be amazing.
Oh God, I do not have one here. I'm supposed to go to my mother's at Christmas, but we'll see because of the COVID.
Yeah.
But if I think of it, I'll look for one.
All right.
That
No
would be
pressure. No
funny.
pressure.
I think there's a picture of me I can see in my head wearing like my outfit, and maybe I had like one front tooth. You know what I mean? Like
Oh,
really
perfect.
classy look. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to go back to that look.
A
All
one
right.
tooth.
Yeah, exactly. All right.
Oh dear.
So our words today were camp, campaign, campanile, campanologist, campanology, campanula, campanulate, campbellite, campcraft, camper, campesino, campestral, campfire, and campfire girl. You must now pick a word of the episode.
Oh, me?
Yeah, it's all
Oh,
you.
oh gosh. Oh, this is tough because so many of these words resonate with me. I like campestral. Let's do that one because it's very peaceful. Let's go. That's my word. I'm
Yeah.
sticking to it.
I was thinking you might even be doing that one. I like that one too.
It's lovely.
I also liked campanology. It is the art of bell ringing, and there is a great podcast called Ologies where the host Ali Ward interviews people who are experts on things. They are ologists of all different types. I mean, I don't even know how many episodes she's got, but if she hasn't interviewed a campanologist, maybe she should. That would be awesome to hear somebody talk about the art of bell ringing.
Wow. What's the name of the podcast again?
It's called Ologies, Ologies.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah. I would like to know about this bell ringing. It seems very almost kind of sophisticated, I think, because they wear those gloves
Mm.
and, I don't know. It seems like a classy kind of a hobby or whatever.
Yeah,
Profession.
I never would have thought that there would be a whole study of the art of bell ringing, but there's studies about everything, so I guess it
Right.
makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. And can I ask you before we sign off soon,
Yeah.
were you ever a Boy Scout or a Cub Scout or any of that?
Definitely not.
Okay.
My dad was when he was a kid for a time. I don't know how long. It was not something that I was really interested in. My friends were, or some of my friends were. One of my friends in high school even got up to Eagle Scout, which is the top level.
Mm-hmm.
But I wasn't really an outdoors kid. I didn't do camping. I mean, I think it would have been very, very beneficial for me to learn those skills. But it
Mm-hmm.
just wasn't something that I was interested in. So my parents didn't push that. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
But I do think I should have learned some of those skills.
And then you would be, hold on, what's the word?
A
You
campfire
would be,
girl?
no, what was the other word we talked about? Campcraft. Then you would have
Yes.
you would be good, have good campcraft.
Yes, I think that would have been very smart for me, actually. Um,
Well, it's never too late to learn.
oh, no, that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
I,
Yeah.
I hope to have some campcraft by the time I die. So, Carrie, there's one more thing that I have not told you about that
Uh-oh.
nobody knows about except for my wife because she gets to experience me recording this pretty much every time I record. I have started a little bit into the seas. I started to make up short, little, terrible, horrible songs about the word of the episode.
Oh.
So, if you would like, and trust me, anything you create would be better than what I could come up with. These are
Uh-huh.
short, these are a few words, there's nothing to it. If you would like, you can, off the top of your head, come up with a song about campestral or any other word that you want to in 3, 2, 1.
Campestral. It means rural. Yeah. How was that?
That is so much better than any of the other songs that I have done. You are winning this race so far. Nobody.
I should have grabbed my ukulele and played a little. Okay. Wow. Well, I didn't know I was going to be writing a song today, but there we go.
I know. That's why I like to spring that on you. You've got a great voice. You had actual tones and song, notes, and there was a bit of a melody, and and it almost rhymed. So You win. You win.
Thank you. God bless. Hey, how is your how's your Patreon going? Who's our friend? Christoph?
Yes. Still the one and only Christoph.
Oh, I wish Christoph the best. I hope he's doing well.
He's holding down the fort.
Good, good, good. Wonderful, wonderful. I thought of a word we could talk about on a future episode for Patreon.
Oh, for an exclusive. Yeah, yeah. Let's keep it a secret because if people want to learn
Okay.
about it, then they can join the Patreon and maybe we'll
Okay.
do that in the future.
Yeah, I knew I had told you there was one, and I couldn't remember what it was, and I didn't want to search. I couldn't remember if it was something I saved from Twitter or if I'd screenshotted. And then I heard the word yesterday, and I was like, "That was the word I wanted to." So in the future we'll get together and we'll talk about that word because it's a word
Excellent.
that I thought I knew what it meant for years and years and years, and I realized I didn't. So
Oh, interesting.
yeah,
There's a backstory to it. Nice.
yeah,
Well, we will
yeah.
definitely do that in the future. So thank
Okay.
you to Carrie. Thank you to everybody who is listening. I will put Carrie's links in the show notes. She's got Twitter and I think probably Instagram, but definitely a YouTube page. And there's some fun videos up on there. And if you want to hire her in this weird COVID age for an acting job, voiceover, songs, jingles, she's super talented. Go check her out. I mean, she made up that awesome song on the spot.
Thank you, thank you. That was I wrote a jingle for your wife.
Yes. And if you love the creepy stuff, go check out Horse Talk Horror. And just this last week, let's see, December, what days are we on? December 7th, I think, we released a new Tidbits of Terror episode,
Did you?
which you are credited as making the jingle.
Wow.
Yeah, it's getting a lot
I'm
of
so
play.
proud. They made me an honorary horror.
Yes.
It's wow. My life is changing leaps and bounds. Thanks to you guys. It's just bless you all. Happy
can't take any
holidays. Oh,
credit.
well, it's going to be after the holidays when this comes out. Happy New Year. Here's
Happy
to
New-
2021. Oh Lord.
Yeah, we're a full over a week into 2021. Hopefully it's going better than 2020.
It will. It has to. It will. It is.
All right. So thank you again. Luckily I didn't have to come up with the song this time. You all have been saved of that. And so until next time, this is Spencer and Carrie dispensing information. Goodbye.
Goodbye.